Now, Ezreal, is that taken away here by EDG? Both Ezreal and Ziggs are up, so it could be a handshake that we end up seeing this game. That has been a common one. But Poppy also very high presence. Does slip through the first phase of Ben, so could see a Poppy emerge. As both Camille and Poppy are available, likely to not see a blind Camille with Poppy and Shen up as options. It leads more credence to a potential Ezreal or Ziggs here for JDG.
Yeah, I think that's what JDG are deciding. Do they want to grab the Ezreal, or do they want to grab the Poppy? That would deny a lot of the more OP roaming supports. That would be a great pairing alongside that Ezreal. So the choice comes down to them, unless there's something else on the top side that they would rather take instead. Rumble. Interesting.
Something else on the top side, indeed. All right. Xiaoxu gets his hands on the Rumble. Expect to see a response from ZDZ later on in draft, but that a lot of priority picks up. I mean, Poppy, Naafiri, Ezreal, Ziggs, champions that have had a really high presence so far in the LPL that are up and available for this game. So EDG going to look at Ezreal, say yes, please for leave. Going to be locked in.
Maybe EDG thinks about a jungle pick that they can take at this point. Save their support for 3. Because if you pick Poppy and then JDG picks something like Bard, you're not getting as much value as you normally would with the Poppy, deflecting something like a...
Yeah,
exactly. So you have to wait for the Camille to show before you go with something like the Poppy. Oh, they go for the Naafiri. So now JDG have the opportunity to look for something like Poppy if they want to help. That, for me, that is like the best answer into Naafiri. Whether you play it in jungle or support, doesn't matter. Still a great answer.
Ezreal going to definitely dissuade the Poppy from being support. But yeah, I think it's an option for JunJia. Also, Pantheon up and available on the board, if that's something that JDG wants to look towards. But
sure.
I mean, Gala, outside the Ziggs, we haven't really seen Gala play a ton of mages for JDG, and curious to see him go for the Corki into the Ezreal here. Prioritizing non-mages and trying to keep this game standard again for JDG.
I think JDG are really contemplating whether they lock in Poppy right now, because if they don't, you could go for Camille, potentially, and then ban out the Poppy later. But Nautilus comes in instead as the support choice for Vampire, which is... it's a fine answer into Camille. If you play it right, you can absorb her hook shot with your dredge line, right? But
I don't think we're going to see Camille. It's going to probably be something else for Parukia. I mean, I even think Rel has credence in this game with what's showing right now. It helps set up Naafiri a little bit, but instead, Naafiri gonna get into the backline of JDG with the help of Shen. I lied. It ends up being the Rel. So just the answer to the Nautilus. And boring draft so far, Raafaa. I feel like EDG bans Poppy out now, just with Rel and Naafiri showing. Jungle Poppy for JunJia definitely should be a pick potentially in the cards.
Yeah. I think that then puts JunJia looking at things like Xin Zhao next on the skirmishing lineup, maybe a Wukong, so that you can provide some AoE engage and disengage for a lot of these diving threats from EDG. Because right now, the way that you look at how this fight is going to break out, Rel sets it up, Naafiri tries to dive in, find that one reset, and JDG even taking the time to ban away what is a common pairing with the Naafiri, with the Annie in the mid lane. Outside of that, I know you were talking about not seeing enough Lissandra now that Imperial Mandate is a thing with the updated item description. Would be a nice pairing with the Naafiri too if Bulldog plays it.
Yone taken away. Is that a giveaway for what champion we might want to see for Bulldog? I think a little bit more biased towards maybe a Galio, if that's taken off the board. Would be nice for the Naafiri, as give at least him a little bit of follow-up as to what they want. Syndra taken away for Bulldog. Annie and Syndra taken away. Actually kind of curious what HongQ wants in the mid lane. He's going to have to blind here. Maybe we end up seeing that TF that did end up on our ban list from the last game, and something that HongQ has a lot of bias towards.
Has a Rumble to play towards on the top side. However, depending on what ZDZ picks, could be much more difficult to find those collapses and side lane roams. Ends up being the K'Sante, so just a tank and another frontline member for EDG.
No surprise here seeing K'Sante in the Rumble. JDG opportunity for them to grab more setup. I would not mind seeing something like a Pantheon here. I think Pantheon interacts pretty well with this game. Should be a front line that he can kind of play in. It gives a little bit more pressure to the Rumble. That said, Trundle. Zap the stats of a K'Sante. That also could feel good as well for JunJia. Definitely opens up the playbook a bit early. Can stymie Rel. So not the best matchup in the Fury, but I think opportunity for JunJia to be creative with the pathing early on. And then we'll have nice options later on into that K'Sante and Rel.
Okay. So JGD are just opting into a very standard, I don't want to say basic, but this is just like a traditional team fight composition. You've got really nice scaling with the Victor. Corki, obviously nice mid-game spike with the Trinity Force, but also has crit scaling as well into his kit. Rumble, great mid-game spike as well. And this Trundle, as you called out, is going to turn this K'Sante into a paperweight. So we'll see how well JDG can actually play around to their team fighting strengths. Whereas this last lock-in from Bulldog, what ult values are going to get? Deft Charge, Subjugate 4.
I mean, Corki Rockets are nice, but that's pretty conditional. It's not the big team fight ultimate. I don't love this pick for EDG. I feel like this leads a lot of value over to the Corki and the Victor. Corki, I think, pretty happy in a pretty low-range game. Does a lot of damage if you end up getting a little bit too far up close, and Victor should be able to utilize the spacing tools that he gains as the game goes on pretty well into a heavy melee composition for EDG. So for me, eyes on EDG early again, see if they can get the pace of this game going fast enough for them. I think that their comp's the one that gets outscaled if this goes late. And kind of wondering if EDG is able to get there.
Definitely cool to see both of the teams flip-flop their composition identities. JDG were the faster comp that needed to get the lead in game 1. Now that they get to take their time and demonstrate their ability in slowing and stabilizing the game so that EDG are not able to just explode the first 15 minutes into a snowball.
Well, Raafaa, we got the Xiaohaos coming in here soon, but hoping to see better luck from EDG here in game 2.
全军出击!
I cannot express how happy it makes my heart to hear Mr. Jindong back cheering for his team. I think, you know, this might be a controversial theory, but he was not at a majority of the matches, if I remember correctly. At least I remember there's 2 that he wasn't cheering for the team or present. And JDG didn't look good in those series. So you know what? JDG, this is one of their cleaner games that they've played out so far in Split 3. I think Mr. Jindong himself is a buff, and he's needed at every game from here on out.
You gotta impress the owners, you know? It's Mark Cuban logic. Comes to the games. It adds a little bit of healthy pressure to the players. But it is fun to see him round up the fan base for his team.
Dude, he's just got such an awesome voice, man. I love it.
I'm not familiar. I'm gonna have to check it out. We start with the voice.
You need to watch more JDG series, man. He's been around for all year, and definitely parts of last year, if I'm not mistaken. There's just no one else that can go, like, just aura. As first 2 minutes of the game have already eclipsed. Nothing too out of the ordinary has occurred so far. Both the junglers are pathing towards the bottom side of the map. They did get vision onto JunJia's Raptors, so JGD has information on JunJia's whereabouts, and ZDZ is going to start proxying.
Both junglers on the bot side. Feels comfy enough to do this. JunJia, nice use of pillar. Aggro this camp early. Does burn smite now. Tells me he's going to head towards that top crab and avoid any potential fight with the Fury early on. That does have a good matchup into the Trundle.
Oh boy.
Calculated enough.
So
Kind of curious if HongQ could skip out on an auto there to hit that creep and maybe get 4. There's one mage creep there. Might have been enough, you know, second point knee. Not the case though. Bulldog sneaks out, TP's back. JunJia gonna take care of that top grab.
yeah. So a reminder, Bulldog opted into this matchup with the Sylas. I hope they're able to show some investment paying off onto it actually getting mileage later on.
Yeah, they need to
Maybe
walk
he's
to
able
the lane for sure. That's going to help.
Yeah.
As Vampire got their
Well,
base.
there's 2 plays happening at once. JGD's ganking bot, but JunJia's ganking mid. Bulldog under fire. He gets flashed on with the chomp and the slow from JunJia. Bulldog already burning the flash. That should be first blood going over to HongQ. And JGD's gank completely fizzles out, only getting the flash out of Vampire.
Well put, JDG. I know that... I think you were kind of setting up for the hope of EDG to actually visit the lane with the Sylas, because the fact that he did opt into this matchup, you definitely need jungle help if you actually want to beat the Victor. You don't beat him in the 1v1. And it's jungle help coming to the Victor lane first as... Oh. Well, that's unfortunate.
That is
I would have
so funny.
sat on flash.
Oh my goodness.
You were dead as hell. Bulldog, once you saw Toronto land into that lane, he goes down. HongQ doesn't have to use flash. JunJia picks up the kill, and Vampire going to help him fix this wave. And happy camper in the mid lane here for JDG, as HongQ may be looking for that pog that he deserved from game 1.
I'm going to quote our good friend Super K-Man Rocks. Hang on. Parukia goes for the Q flash, but he can't get the crash down. Vampire, great cancel with the auto attack.
Yeah, caught the W with the Q. Able to get HongQ out of there, and HongQ doesn't have to burn flash again. Super K-Man Rocks. What's the quote you're looking for, Raafaa?
Oh, so if you don't know, one of our awesome LPL casters does a lot of his own content and has been doing content before he joined us on LPL English.
Yeah.
And he does weekly, basically power rankings and reviews and kind of summaries of like what has happened in the LPL. And I always love when he goes over EDG because he's always contemplating, is Bulldog the worst player in the LPL? Because it's up there. And I know it's harsh to just come right out the gate of game 2 and say, yep, this guy sucks, but it is just so sad if you're going to have this counter pick and you're not playing to his lane, because now he is behind. And HongQ, who already should have been our deserved player of the game from game 1, is ahead in the game. Now EDG, bot lane might be in trouble. JGD at least answering the gank from JunJia and will allow Parukia and Leave to get out alive.
Nice hover there. Necessary, as I think if JJ's not there, that bot lane's in trouble again, especially Parukia, who was down a flash. But so what you're saying is that Bulldog is to K-Man what Haichao was to me.
Yeah.
Okay. I know exactly what you mean.
Yep.
Yep.
But see, that is where you have the hope that he's going to surprise you. And Haichao did give us those surprises when you least expected it.
My real frustration with Haichao is that he would like lead his lane in laning stats and then just be invisible. Like, there were positives for Haichao, you know? It's just that if you consistently bring a 300 to 400 gold lead at 15, which is significant in pro, 2 fights, and then do nothing, those leads don't matter.
Gotta be able to leverage it in a significant manner. So far, neither jungler has gone for the first dragon of the game. It's just been a lot of heavy trading and movement from not only the bot lane, but also junglers being able to check in on both mid and bot lane, respectively.
I feel like that's enough HP that's been taken away from EDG that it might be a look coming in. Vampire tried to sidestep the ult from Lee. Is now both bot lanes, though. Vampire taking a tower shot that he didn't want to take. Kind of thought there'd be a world where we could see Trundle cheat over. Skip over a camp to maybe hit that dragon, but I think Crab being down and now both bot lanes being low, gonna be enough to potentially set our team's focus on the grubs that are now entering the map.
Yeah. window has been missed for a very, very proactive early first dragon of the game, but I think both junglers, more so JDG, content with what they were able to get done in the first 8 minutes of the game. Already, HongQ dominating this mid lane and leading a majority of the gold advantage off of the visit from JunJia
Vampire
and his natural lane prowess. That's going to abduct lands, but Vampire absorbs the engage. Once again, depth charge, not even needed for the kill on the Bulldog. It's going to be used on the JGD, and he's going to dodge it with the call of the pack. JDG own this rift.
That Bulldog got put down. That's the only contribution I have.
That's tough, man.
I've got a very good friend who's a diehard Alabama fan. I think that he's hoping that the Georgia Bulldogs kind of look like this as the college football season starts soon. We had football to get played today. It was preseason.
I was curious where you were going with that,
yeah. But Carson Beck went off after being memed on in college football as Sid the Sloth. And also there was a great clip of his ex-girlfriend, who is kind of famous because she got NIL money, saying that he has no friends, he's a loser, which is kind of a tough way to go out.
That is tough. And
speaking of tough ways to go out.
Yep. We both are on the same wavelength.
Great hook from
Vampire has been great in this second game.
You know, even that depth charge, it looks like it was a wasted flash, but he's trying to get the depth charge animation to come out before a W from the Fury can come out. Could have been Shane with the auto there. So I think Aragon sitting over there in his co-stream with the Vampire jersey, probably a happy camper today. It's been a more traditional look for JDG.
I mean, his goat is playing well this series. Yeah,
it is.
No,
yeah,
I mean, we talked about how before we saw the JunJia Pog that we were thinking if it's not HongQ for game 1, who gets it? And we mentioned Vampire. We thought that his recon gameplay was quite good. And when Alk was still casting and you guys were talking about how I thought it was really funny that the Camille might have skewed Vampire's growth and put him on a lot of the bad habits from before. Hang on. Bulldog might be in trouble. Getting forced off this tier 1. Tier 2 interrupted. Forced the flash away. Wow, that is horrendous. And the burn, barely not enough between the Deathfire Touch and the Blackfire Torch, but it was close.
Subjugate. That was close. Subjugate was on him from JunJia. Almost got the bleed. Meanwhile, Xiaoxu. Xiaoxu's not messing around with that. He's just going to burn the flash. He knows that his jungler just showed mid. I think that it's kind of a smart read from him just to get out. And ZDZ getting low enough now where
he's trying to tease it. He's trying to bait this one out. Equalizer comes out now. JJ, they can force the dive. JJ has to tank up the turret shots. Hound's Pursuit can drop it with Call of the Pack. They just need enough damage. Beautifully executed.
That's the Fury Gaming. Sadly, while that's a win on the top side, JDG, we're looking to zone EDG out of the bot side, able to get leave away from more creeps. As Gala's small lead, not nearly as big as this lead that HongQ has in the mid lane, as HongQ, you know, maybe he just didn't like the fact that Twitch chatter said that he looks like Zendaya. Maybe he saw that one.
I don't know. I take that as a compliment.
That's what I said. Yeah, I think it's compliment no matter what. I mean, that is, yeah, that's a good-looking individual. Yeah, she's got going on. Good for her.
I mean, listen.
HongQ also has it going on the Rift this game.
She and Tom Holland, awesome couple.
I wasn't even going to bring that up. I don't want to be too parasocial, but yeah, she's good at what she does.
You need to go watch Spider-Man Brand New Day, by the way.
You know, I know we had this conversation. There are some movies for me that are just streaming service movies. Because I want to feel like I get value out of my streaming service. Because I really don't use it a lot.
Yeah, it's
I
expensive.
fear because I want to go see Doomsday. It's like, I just don't want to get that thing spoiled. I'm invested enough in Marvel to go to not get it spoiled. I feel like that's my theater movie, and we got to save Spider-Man for streaming.
Well, HongQ, can he get saved from this encounter? Not quite. The rest of EDG are able to dogpile on him fast enough. No one from JDG could bail him out. Shut down bounty goes into the pockets of Bulldog.
It's a good play from EDG. Just the concern we have and why we're a wee bit off topic early on for this, Raafaa, is that everyone from EDG is low range. HongQ is very fed. And even though he went down to a very cleanly executed play from Parukia, still took away half the health bars of 2 members after instantly dying just from dropping his R. And EDG is going to have to walk through that no matter what play they want this game, just given that they took a very heavy melee composition. And HongQ on the Victor is going to be a very happy camper playing this game out.
Yeah. Not to mention that even after the shutdown, he's still ahead of Bulldog by 1.5K. Like,
yeah.
That's tough. Xiaoxu is going to get a revisit from JGD, but this time, Xiaoxu kills the wave fast enough before JGD could get in position and initiate the dive. We've got second dragon of the game spawning in about 1 minute and 5 seconds. Bulldog under fire. JunJia going to help HongQ looking for the play, and oh boy, Bulldog is getting munched on.
No wave. He stole the subjugate and casted it second, which is valuable, by the way, and still got turned into paper mache.
That guy was weaker than balsa wood. Leave in trouble, but he makes it out alive. I was ready to add that to the clip list, Matt. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm still stuck on the fact that I haven't heard balsa wood since I was in middle school. Been making pine wood derby cars.
Dude, those were a blast. Those are fond memories. I did that in Cub Scouts though. But
yeah, we had that was Cub Scouts and then also a middle school class. We got to make trash talk videos actually about the race, and my car was fast, so I had someone partner up with me for like the second half of the class, and we sat in front of the camera for 30 seconds, and he broke a pencil on his forehead, and that was a trash talk video. We just sat still and said nothing. I mean, for a 12-year-old. Pretty good production ideas and value. That's all I'll say.
That's so bizarre that it's awesome, especially if it's for a 12-year-old coming up with that.
Brian had a great sense of humor.
Shout out to Brian. I don't know who you are, but you sound cool. And right now, EDG are trying to see if they can play it cool into JDG for control of the second dragon of the game. Rift Herald is coming up in 5 seconds, so they can always shift away from this dragon pit instead if they want to look at a different objective while they are behind almost 3,000 gold collectively against JDG.
I don't feel like EDG gets to play in this river.
JunJia gets stunned up, but immediately subjugates Parukia, and he gets exploded.
See, they can't even touch the river, and they still die. Now ZDZ is in the river, but TP coming in to respond.
He's like, hey, there's no subjugate. I can potentially tank this one up.
Yeah. No.
Screw that. I'm going to flash over the wall.
Yep.
Hell no. This fight sucks.
He tried to bring Rumble with them, and Xiaoxu wasn't having it. So, attempt from EDG, uninspiring, as JDG going to pick up the dragon and keep on cruising in this game. And yeah, this is about the moment I said, I don't think they can get in this river. And Parukia just ends up being the victim of the combo. And yeah, I mean, ZDZ coming in.
Fast. My goodness.
I appreciate the fish from Vampire. I feel like hooking Nautilus is the one member you can hook. ZDZ and trying to drag Xiaoxu with him across the wall. Gonna have to flash out to get the TP for that. ZDZ will have his TP up first, so maybe something EDG can play off of that window. And gonna need to find a way to manufacture some numbers advantages, because it's not looking like a game where they're gonna get more. And especially with Victor having this many early kills, I think he's fully evolved. That's a very early fully evolved for Victor.
Terrifying for EDG to now have to fight up against Victor and the power of Arcane at his strongest. And he's not even on his second item yet. That's how fast it has come online. Oh no, leave! Flash away for what? Please! Please leave!
No, I'm going to say something that I say about a lot of NACL players. I feel like this is an AD carry that would just operate better if we defaulted at not hitting the mid wave as they touch each other.
That wave is not worth it, surely.
It's like James Wood and Family Guy, like, ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy. And just, I can't believe that worked. Yeah,
Let's see how this happens. Okay, we got the replay in the bottom. Well,
you know, we're Ezreal playing in front of the wave. That's Leaf's fault.
I'm just so disappointed. Well, Vampire getting engaged on by EDG. Can he walk this one out? He's got Protoplasm Harness, so he heals back on up. This is a 2v4, and they deflected it. HongQ is manhandling them with the power of the Arcane Storm. Leaving a 1v1 against Gala. He's got the power of Exhaust in his side, but JunJia is ready to wrap around. They both flash side by side. Cinema for both of our AD carries. I know the LPL editor is going to have a field day with that one, as EDG does manage to actually find HongQ with the persistent dive and take their first tower of the game.
Oh, they got no grubs, and JDG's winning in 2 lanes as Trundle takes mid. He's going to take the top side jungle, and Xiaoxu deletes 2 waves into the top lane turret. So the extended play for EDG, where they tried to create the numbers advantage, wasn't off a TP, ends up working out at the end. But yeah, Vampire's done a really nice job of marking the Rel this game. I think that's definitely something that he, like, when you play this matchup, you want to put yourself in between Rel and the rest of your team so you can catch those W's with the dredge line and neutralize. Okay, HongQ got a little bit greedy there. He doesn't need to go for that flash play. He did want to go for that flash play. That does give EDG over some much needed gold. Meanwhile, this is what had me laughing. Exhaust diff, you called it out. Both ADs taking exhaust. I do like the fact that we have ADs opted for exhaust with more really high impact summoner spell. And I think it was the subjugate because the kill did go to JunJia. But just a really funny look because both ADs did flash and die. Not exactly what you want to
HongQ does sidestep the crash down, throws down the gravity zone.
Oh no!
I don't think it's going to help him bail him out. Up's going up, does miss, but Bulldog still has enough damage with the hijacked Arcane Storm. And EDG finally are going to crack through another tier 1 turret on the top side, but JDG are going to break open the base.
These aren't tier 1 turrets that JDG is hitting in return. These are now tier 3 turrets. JDG is hitting in return as they have the 5 turrets to the 2. Using their 3 grub advantage quite well as Dredge Line connects and might put him in trouble.
That was a nice buffer by ZDZ. Q3 as Vampire was coming in with the Dredge Line punishes the Nautilus.
Oh!
Seems like scraps. Oh, okay.
I like it. You know what? I like it. I like it. Try something.
Screw it.
You gotta try something.
Yeah. Screw around and try to find out. What can you do? JGD and Bulldog. They even use the Ezreal True Shot Barrage to cancel bases. This is
a win. This is a win. This is Black Cleaver working overtime on the Baron. I think JunJia is a little bit aware of it now.
He has
that
suspicions. His
might have tipped him off.
Tingling.
Can they keep him out?
There, JunJia. Steal this. 2,000 HP. JunJia secures it. Oh, JunJia cannot steal the Baron away from EDG. Can't even find Parukia as he finds the crash down over the wall. Back to safety. EDG find a hell of a heist.
This goofy game just got goofier. Hey, you know what? Great problem solving. I gotta say, from Bulldog and EDG, that was really creative from JJ and Bulldog to end up finding that Baron. Yeah. Much needed win because that did come off the back of JDG hitting the tier 3 turrets early. They will get the dragon for themselves on the reset. So EDG not able to get that, but honestly, some free time for EDG to at least slow this game down, get some much needed gold in their pockets. That said, just don't feel like that is as impactful for them as it is for JDG. This is a game that I still believe Victor's going to run.
As long as he's not getting caught out on the side lane, I also agree. So JDG might be paying attention to that condition now and proactively force HongQ to group up with them on this next objective fight, which not going to happen for another 4 minutes, which is when our 4th dragon of the game will spawn and another rotation of the Baron will arrive against Summoner's Rift, as HongQ and Gala are helping absorb the wave that is empowered by the Baron buff, and this just allows EDG to stall out the game. But as you said, Matt, these are some cool moves that EDG are pulling unexpectedly, but we highlighted very concerningly that this is a composition that wanted to spike early in the game and have a gold lead over JDG because they get outscaled, and at that point has already been passed.
Yeah, this is just the Baron for stabilizing the game, closing the gold gap as a stolen equalizer does come in. Parukia pushes Vampire off, but no fight to follow after the turret. Again, EDG, if they want to fight, they have to successfully dogpile. I do think they need to create an angle or two for that, which is kind of difficult because they aren't going to be able to get push in these side lanes. So, see them return now with the Baron, but This is a Baron to fix things more so than to build up a lead, which was much needed for EDG. And Bulldog, well, equalizer, okay.
Whoa. Xiaoxu just flashes on top of Bulldog, gets his flash. TP is coming in. Can they arrive quick enough? JunJia is going to help ensure that Bulldog does not get any more value, but that's a massive Kingslayer heal. CDC tries to flash on in to close the distance, but it's not soon enough. Bulldog goes down, but now JunJia could be the target. He's got a massive bounty on his head, but he's walking out alive. He's got the subject. He healed off the soul, but the tanky stats. EDG finally finds Xiaoxu, and they're continuing the play. Vampire's going to be the next one. Home's pursuit allows JGD to sink his fangs into a member of JDG, and EDG will continue to find ways, clawing their way back into the game.
That late entrance, I think, from HongQ was kind of the difference, as it took a bit for the Victor to get here again. We're really setting up this Victor for being the big carry in this game, and instead of TPing, HongQ does elect to walk. I think early on, pretty just, because Xiaoxu wins out heavily on this trade into the Silas. He's got 2 levels. I think for me, JunJia, I think he cast his Subjugate on the Bulldog to respond. I'm wondering if he could have saved that for ZDZ, because Bulldog did steal the Subjugate, used it, so JunJia gets his stats back when he uses Subjugate again. It's just that ZDZ ended up being a big problem, and Xiaoxu was kind of a little bit too far up. HongQ was late to arrive. I don't think the pre-fight damage that I'm expecting to see out of Victor in different setups wasn't there. EDG finds a good play.
JunJia engaging on the JGD, but uses the call of the pack and the Eviscerate to get out over the wall. Looks like Crab was secured for JDG's side. 4th Dragon coming up in 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Feels like JDG is going to be first this objective again. As I will say, one thing that's kind of thrown me off the LPL, for whatever reason, the tier items are to the right of the inventory instead of the left. This is an old bug. It used to exist in the inventories. So I saw a collector come in for Gala, and for a second I was like, is that collector second? No. It was collector third.
Yeah.
Which, I don't think he's going to want to be hitting ZDZ with that. See if Gala can get involved in the backline.
Unless JunJia can subjugate him. But yeah, otherwise I agree. Not a big fan of that pickup for that reason. But I imagine he's going for a Lord Doms or some kind of Last Whisper item.
Or Pen coming in next, yeah.
Please.
To be expected.
Por favor.
Baron spawns 15 seconds after the Dragon. Minute from Baron, 40 seconds away from the Dragon. JDG have control over the bot side. EDG have control over the top side. And walking in the Victor is going to be difficult for EDG's Gala.
Oh, big pillar into the dredge line. And that is a flash out of Leave.
See, that's an example of Leave just trying to do too much when it's not necessary. That's a really expensive summoner spell to lose for nothing before the objective comes up. Kind of also feeds into the reason why we did this Leave to a far off segment.
TP's coming in on the right side. Xiaoxu looking for the flangle. Bulldog is somewhat late, but he walks on in. EDG have the wave prio.
They want to hit the next wave.
In.
Yeah, they just want to make sure they hit the next wave as well, as EDG caught that wave really high with Bulldog.
Dredgeline snags on the ZDZ. Death charge right onto the front. Subjugate burns him down. Tank is gone. Parukia tries to stall out with the Magnus Storm, but it's not effective. And Leave can only do so much against the might of JDG surging forward. Triple for Gala. JGD run down and put into the dog pound. JunJia bites him down, and the Baron belongs to JDG.
Pretty convincing 4-for-1. That's a little bit more of what we were expecting, as JDG found the setup, and that was not a close fight, Raafaa. I feel like it was a mix of Vampire pulling the trigger first, and also the fact that HongQ does have that Storm fully evolved, so it got rather big rather fast. But yeah, this was I really feel like EDG needs to create angles if they want to fight this, and instead they're just kind of handshaking lanes and walking into lasers. So the poke adds up over time. Feel like this fight we did see a subjugate on the ZDZ, which helped a lot. But nice grab here from Vampire. Gets the party started, and ZDZ didn't really have a great response. Subjugate, that charge comes down, and he literally just gets 100-0.
I mean, what's just so bizarre from EDG is that Bulldog is hitting the tier 1, and you can see the pings coming out from JDG. Just start the fight right now. because Bulldog cannot join the fight immediately if we snap engage.
I will say, I do feel like with the setup there, if they were to drop the dragon and threaten the Baron, I feel like that was the play, if anything. So I think Bulldog hitting tier 1, like it might look a little bit troll or desynced, but I think that's desynced as a team, and frankly one where I almost want to be biased towards Bulldog's idea. But either way, new voices in the team with JJ's addition, and a team that's been struggling and obviously still come together with this new version. Not going to be a different story today, though, as this has been a rather decisive 2-0 from JDG.
Yeah. So on JDG to close this one out, as ZDZ trying to get some gold back into his pockets, attempting to siege onto the tier 2 in the top side. Bulldog chasing Xiaoxu with a stolen death charge. Might be enough, throws on the equalizer, buys himself some space, and the rest of JDG, they're just trying to end the game. They take out one Nexus turret, prompting ZDZ to teleport back in. Dredgeline onto Parukia, subjugate at the ready, can look for ZDZ and burn him down. Gala is just firing on all cylinders. No one is stopping this Corki from just depleting his entire Gatling gun. EDG are completely discombobulated. No one knows who to attack. No one knows what to do. EDG, please do something as a triple kill comes in for Gala, and he wants a full-on penta. Picks up the Quadra. Give it to him, baby.
They're trying.
They're trying. Pentakills. They're trying to gift wrap this one hit for him specifically. Penta for Gala.
I really appreciate how that pentakill call is going to start with EDG. Please do anything. Man, we've had a lot of pentakills. It's been 3 in the last 2 days here for the LPL as Gala wraps up this series. Convincing 2-0, puts an exclamation point on the back half, finding the pentakill on that Collector Corki. Maybe that's what the Collector was for, Raafaa, just ensuring the fact that he could get maximum dopamine at the end.
I have a special place in my heart for Gala specifically, because last year I casted
he played really well with IG. He played really well with IG, last year. Yeah.
But also, I got to cast 2 of his pentakills, and they were in the same week. One was on Avaris, and the other was on Yunara. And it was the first ever Yunara pentakill recorded in global. Right.
Yeah, that was a the champion was a little overtuned in that clip.
Yeah.
Gala played it well. I don't want to take anything away from him, but yeah, release Yunara was a little strong. But no, I mean, for JD Gaming, I feel like the one takeaway we can have for them is that they went back to a little bit more of a, I'd say, a standard against the current meta formation, and it looked good for JDG. Like, we're walking away with this one, feeling good about how Vampire moved around the map. We were arguing whether it was jungle mid Pog in game 1, because we really felt like it was HongQ. HongQ got really big, played well with JunJia for this game too. And while he was the victim of heavy targeting from EDG in the side lane, I didn't learn as much from JDG in this series besides, you know what? The meta, which you were clearly better in Splits 1 and Split 2, you brought it out for this series and it worked. So, do I learn a lot about this team from the series? Maybe not. But for EDG, there are issues that this team has. And they have to start cleaning them up for not only the second round robin, but just staring down the holster of NIP, IG, and that Group Nirvana. I am very convinced that NIP is better than the bottom 3 teams we have in Group Ascend. IG also has been rather convincing that they don't belong in Group Nirvana, even though they did drop that very close series yesterday between the 2 teams. So, if you're EDG, you got to look at the rest of your group for the second round robin, then look at the teams that are biting at your heels, because right now, we feel like EDG belongs in a bottom 2 Group Nirvana right now. They are not playing good league.
Yeah, it's disappointing to see EDG off of a miracle best of 5 victory over NIP in Split 2 playoffs to first not only get into Split 2 playoffs through Knights Rivals, but then also to Group Ascend as an additional prize, right? But they are not only the worst team in Group Ascend, as I would love to see the standings pull up. They are now, or they should be updated to reflect current series score updates, with JDG now at 3 wins to 4 losses and EDG adding another loss to their series score. They have only won 1 single game this entire split. It was against BLG off of a ZDZ Vayne game, but also with BLG adjusting to their new top laner in Wembo coming into the lineup, and they took advantage of it, got clapped by BLG for the rest of the series. And I know we joked at the beginning of the show today, Matt, that Group Ascend looks more like mini Group Perseverance with that bottom 4, but it's really devastating to see that there is a clear difference between the skill level of EDG and maybe we can argue LGD and TT and what we thought for a while JDG versus the rest of the teams in Group Ascend.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the standings again, we like wrapping up this first round robin. You called out, like, my mind just goes back towards the split that we have between the 4 and 4 teams, and I think the biggest surprise for me is WE. I really felt like WE would probably revert more towards the norm that we saw in the last regular season. I do think that the meta positions well for what they were doing well in the Split 2 playoffs, which was Monkey being really active with these openers. Yes. And what you've been able to do with supports as well, like just ruining level 1s across lanes and across jungles. I think WE has really cashed in on that, and they've picked up where they left off, which is great, because when Monkey and his team's playing well, this league's been more fun to watch. I definitely have learned that in my 2 years of covering the LPL now. So, see if that can keep up for Team WE. As HongQ, I know that you got killed a little bit in the mid game. I know that this is a Gala pentakill that we're voting against in terms of Pog, but I still want to give you a Pog for this series, because I really feel like HongQ was the player of the match.
HongQ, strong bias for player of the match for me as well. I would give Vampire player of the match if it wasn't HongQ. He's my runner-up. I just think there was only one death from Vampire where I was like, oh, okay, that was a bit of an oopsie, which was the dredge line onto the Cassante, and then he buffers the Q3 and knocks him into the team. A little overextended on that, but these Nautilus absorbs onto Silas engage or Rel engage. Beautiful.
Every clip start with Vampire. I think that's a good shout. Yeah, I mean, again, for EDG, like, this game got so out of control so fast. I do feel like they were forced to look for overload plays, and the fact that they were down to 3 grubs as well, I was a part of the LS grub conversation, and definitely we figured out that, you know, grubs, more impactful the less members you have at the objective. So the fact that EDG were forced to overload and gave JDG with 3 grubs multiple instances where they were able to play 2 lanes, whereas EDG was playing 1. Part of the reason why we saw the Baron trade happening while JDG was pressuring tier 3s, which did make this game a little awkward. But I do want to give EDG credit. I feel like the Baron call that was not featured in this highlight reel was very good, and they did play themselves back into this one somewhat, but it doesn't alleviate the takeaways that we have from this series, which is like, man, this team really is struggling. Like, there are big issues that are preventing them just from finding wins in this league. And I think it boils down from how they view fights before the fight breaks out and while the fight breaks out. And they are just the weakest team that we have in the group.
The more I see this team, the more I'm convinced that mechanically, they're not that far. They're not like Omega gapped as much compared to all the other teams that are directly above them. Obviously, if you compare them to AL, BLG, even top esports, yeah, there's a clear mechanical difference. But when you look at the other teams that are in the bottom 4 with them, like, mechanics-wise, I don't think that is what's keeping them from being able to beat them. It's their communication and it's their coordination. There is a breakdown in where they're going, who they're targeting, how they want to play out these fights, what's the win condition for their fights, and who they should be playing around. It just looks like solo queue. It looks like, all right, we're just going to start this fight and we're going to pray. A
little bit. Also doesn't help that I feel like their biggest issue outside of the fights is that Leave has never seen a mid wave that he doesn't want to hit first. So there's I think that still might be the biggest problem that we have if you're EDG.
It continues happening, man, and we cannot make this up. It writes itself. Oh.
We were pretty. Let's just say that we figured out that we wanted to do a segment where it was is Leave too far up, and it didn't take us too long to populate said segment, as we could have populated it from game 2 alone today.
Yes.
And that the last Ezreal game that Leave played, we populated it for that game alone as well, which was in their last series. So there are issues. That's fine. You know what?
Happening?
You know what? Okay. This one's far more acceptable than the last one. It really is.
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel like
this lead came from him. Dives were good. The bye, Pog, that's undeserved. Fine. It's going to be a player of the match for JunJia. I will stand by that. I still really feel like HongQ was the biggest impact on this match, but that's mostly for the game 1 bias, where HongQ was huge.
This is my theory, Matt.
This one's more deserved than the last. No questions asked about that.
No, so for what it's worth, this JunJia Pog is a good one. And my belief is that they're giving JunJia these Pogs because potentially on the official LPL broadcast, they heavily teed up the fact that, JunJia was behind JGD on the EDG World Championship lineup. So now this is JunJia's chance to prove, even though they've played each other, all of earlier this year when he was on Weibo, that even if he's back on EDG, JunJia has evolved to be the better jungler. He's the one that is getting more up on JGD. Whereas, maybe he did find really good early game plays that were more effective than JGD did, but swap their places. Let's see if JunJia pulls off the same things on the EDG lineup and JGD gets to play with JDG instead. I'm just saying.
Maybe this is one where they just respected JunJia's opponent the most. Going from the K-Man theory, we can't give HongQ Pogs against Bulldog if Bulldog's not playing well, Which, look, as someone that fills out a weekly NACL ballot, I definitely look at who you play against when I'm filling out that ballot.
No, that's legit. That's legit.
Yeah, I know there was the one series we had last split where I really didn't want to vote for Decoy as top lane Pog because he had to go up against someone that was autofilling in top lane for the first match.
Oh, yeah.
And then I looked at the post-match history and I saw that he did 1,800 DPM across 2 games. And I'm like, crap, guys, I've got to vote for Decoy for best top laner of the week. This guy did 1,800 DPM across both games.
He was too good to ignore despite the circumstances.
Yes.
Well, gamers, that is us.
Raafaa, I'm glad you got to join us. Shout out to non-sponsor, but we would appreciate the sponsor in Xfinity for ensuring us that we only lost Raafaa for the pause portion of the broadcast, and we're able to bring him back
I do beg Xfinity, please, if you're going to do a planned maintenance, can you email me or can you ping me on my phone? Give me a heads up, a 24 hours notice, so that if I'm scheduled to cast and you have a planned maintenance, let me coordinate with the rest of the LPL team so that I'm not griefing my moderator, Alk, and forcing him to get up and cast for 8 minutes before then going back to bed.
He didn't even get to do a damn team fight as a cover cast. He didn't even get to live out the dream.
I know. I felt like I robbed him of a golden opportunity for a color caster to play-by-play a team fight. But that's going to do it for us. First series wrapped up in the books. We still got 2 more series ahead of tonight's schedule. I'm going to have caster slots for each of them. Yes, WE
2-1
taking on Thunder Talk after this.